I'm going to do this in one take and I don't care if I stutter. Thomas Edison said the electric light has caused me the greatest amount of study and has required the most elaborate experiments, but he was never discouraged or inclined to be hopeless of success. When you turn on a light, where does the electricity come from? Where did the fuel to produce it come from? And when was the source of this energy created? Where does it go when we spend it? And what happens to the energy when it's recorded and played back? Can we create a feedback loop this way? Will this feedback become saturated with harmonics? Is this energy concentrated as it reaches peak resonance? If we can create angels with our words and our actions, what do we create with cinema? Does the cinema we make influence the collective consciousness? And is the algorithm a feedback loop? What does the current signal look like? How far from an orderly sine wave have we strayed? Is the current state of things a wave that's been distorted and folded, rich with harmonic confusion? If we create cinema that is ugly and vulgar, the algorithm regurgitates this garbage into an endless chamber where each reflection becomes more hideous than the original. So what happens when we create cinema from divine inspiration? I don't mean church-sponsored production or religious propaganda. This is the same as political propaganda. It's more noise and indoctrination. If we inject more noise into the signal, it just gets lost in chaos. We must start with a clean signal, a tone that is simple and pure. Thomas Edison tested over 6,000 designs and ransacked the world for the most suitable filament material. The cinematographer cannot defy the laws of nature. You must understand the inverse square law. You must spend energy to illuminate the subject with foot candles, and you have to study the way God lights the earth from various directions, intensities, and qualities throughout the day. You cannot ignore your own shadow. It is the contrast between light and shadow that creates depth and shape. If there's only light, there's no picture. It's just a white void. And without the shadow self, there's no story to tell anyways. There is no character arc. And there's that word again, arc. The Old Testament contains a blueprint for a spiritual weapon that resembles an electrical device we have come to understand as a supercapacitor. Constructed from acacia wood, the arc is lined with gold to conduct electricity. There are two solid gold cherubim on top that act as the positive terminal. A difference in electrical potential between the earth and the air is excited by the rising of heat or smoke from offerings of incense, and the friction of the arc being carried during transport generates even more potential. This is how the arc is charged like a battery. When the energy stored inside the arc is discharged, it creates a literal lightning bolt that starts fires, causes death by electrocution, and intimidates armies with its thunder and intensity. So how is this related to photography? Well, in the age of LED, you'll probably never use one, but the carbon arc lamp was a major advancement in lighting technology that would make it possible to simulate divine light. Okay? But it's not really a simulation. It is divine light. It's the same technology given to Modus. So what you choose to illuminate is of the utmost importance. And that doesn't mean censorship, okay? This doesn't mean to shine a light on what's beautiful and then suppress everything else. You see, there's pleasure and pain and hope and fear and war and famine, and all of this is already built into the story. The important thing as cinematographer is to reproduce faithfully. God is writer, producer, and director. So you have to show up to the set with no ego. You're only here to assist the production. You're here to work harder than everyone else with no thanks and no recognition. You're here to learn. And if you shut up your ego and just watch and listen, you might actually learn something. Radiation, electromagnetic waves, and photons are simply light. You can focus the arc with enough intensity to fuse metal, but you must cover your eyes or be blinded with sickness. The light of God is so bright, it will literally melt your face off. When this light is used as a destructive force, radiation poisons the body. If you want to see images of Armageddon, look to the aftermath of Hiroshima. Now, when light is used for medicine, radiation can arrest the growth of corrupted cells to assist the body in healing itself. The cinematographer is responsible for how and where to focus the light. Thus, the cinematographer is responsible for the way the pictures radiate with the audience. So where do you point your light, and why? Why do you create? Are you still vomiting into the algorithm hoping to go viral overnight? Are you catering to an audience that's already sick and giving them more poison? Actually, why am I talking about you? Isn't this a message for me? What's my motivation? Was I not under attack at the start of the day, and this is my counterattack? Yes, it is. This is my rod that I thrust into the broken vacuum tube of the human soul. There is a light beyond my control and comprehension, and that's the endless source of inspiration and creativity. And this is our natural state. And anything that offends our nature makes us sick. And I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of the noise and the chaos and the lies and a narrative where the protagonist achieves romantic satisfaction and material abundance, and that's the end of the story. What about enlightenment? What about helping others attain enlightenment? Why am I still talking? Shouldn't I be listening? Why am I projecting? Shouldn't I be exposing? Shouldn't I be developing? Yeah, I belong behind the camera. Self-Portrait by John Pandone.